Hello and welcome to the 100th edition of Dub Nation, the official show of the Utah Warriors of Major League Rugby. I'm Jeremy Jordan. He is Banksy. 100 episodes? What?
Feels like the first time. Feels like the very first time.
We're going to party hard on this one because we got a lot to talk about. Here's what's on the show. The Major League Rugby draft recap with Wayne Tata-Fiti, who's the director of players and pathway now, plus USA Eagles in Europe. What players have done what in Europe with the United States? Lance Williams helps USA Sevens qualify for the Olympics. Plus, which Utah Warrior is on his national team in the Rugby World Cup? We'll tell you. But we begin with the draft. No first-round pick, Banksy. Utah got out of there to get some cap space. We'll talk to Wayne about that later. But here are the picks. Josh Halliday from Trinity Western is a lock, second round, pick 19 overall. Michael Biaggi, local kid out of BYU. Flanker, Abe Turpin out of Arizona, flanker in the second round as well. And then in the third round, pick 33 overall, Isaiah Kruse, Mika's brother, out of Fresno State, who's a wing. What do you think of these four picks?
I think there's a lot of speed and physicality, especially to shore up that back row in the forward pack. I think Abe Turpin is a big physical flanker. If you look at his highlight reel, he flies all over the pitch. He's another Thomas Tuivau type. It's not afraid to put his shoulder into the tackle and do the hard work. He's an enforcer type from that flanker position, which I'm really excited about. And then to have Josh Halliday, you can't teach height. And so to have somebody like that, a big piece of timber, a Matt Jensen type that has that length in the line out that you can target in that, upper 90th percentile rate at the line out, Halliday has that ability to be a game changer at the set piece for the Warriors.
Emerson probably asked for a Canadian, and he got one in Josh Keller, which is super exciting. And then you got three of these four guys were in the Collegiate Rugby Shield, which was really fun to see and get to know these guys. We're going to get to know Josh Halliday as well. And so those are the draft picks. More on those in a moment with Wayne Tata-Fiti. But huge news, the game with Stade Toulousain coming to play the United States has moved up a day.
And this is good news for a lot of people here in the state of Utah. I know there's a lot of people planning on traveling to Utah for this, but it is now moved from Sunday night to Saturday night at America First Field in Sandy. So you can see the winningest rugby franchise in club rugby history. You're talking about over 20 times they've been French champions. Over 6 different times, I think, they've been champions of Europe. Stade Toulouse is an incredible club with a storied history, and they will be here Saturday night, the 16th of September. Go to SeatGeek.com and get your tickets and be in the stands for what could be the greatest rugby spectacle in North America for an entire calendar year.
Now joining the program is the Director of Players and Pathway, Wayne Tata-Fiti. What is up, Wayne? How you doing, man?
What's going on, brother? Just another day in paradise with the Utah Warriors. Let's go. Let's go.
We like to act like there's an off season. No, there's tons going on. Obviously, your sort of elevation within the program and team is one thing, and the draft is another, and Toulouse coming to town and in less than a month is another, and USA Eagles and so on and so forth. So first, let's just start with your new position. You tell us what you've been doing with the team and how you see your new role shaping up.
I have no idea what I'm doing, but nobody has figured that out yet, including myself. Nah, listen, it's a privilege to be involved with the Utah Warriors full time now. I've been involved indirectly for a little while now, but the timing was right. Everything fitted well, and so here we are, full time into it. As the Director of Players and Pathway, and that effectively is what I've been involved in the most since starting, 13, 14 odd days ago. Not that I'm counting the days. But right now we're in the throes of figuring out our roster for 2024. That has to be the most important job and skill right now that I'm trying to get my head around and to ideally put the right product together for 2024 with our returning players and looking at some really good prospects. So it's been a whirlwind, man. Have you heard of the term drinking from a fire hydrant?
What the water I want to consume. I don't know why that's the idiom, but I get what the pressure of that.
Get it, yeah.
But you come from a position where you actually have a really great relationship as that kind of advisor or chief or kind of spiritual guide role that you had before. So you actually have this opportunity now to use that relationship to not only help the players individually get better, but to help the club overall. And with your past as the former head coach at BYU at the collegiate level, as a selector, identifying and developing talent really is your forte, right? That's your history for those who may not know who Wayne Tarafiti is.
Yeah, no, if I'm being completely fair, when this job came up and everything aligned, I've been in the tech ERP space for the last 8 years. I'm an HR major, and that stuff is, it's good, but, I don't wake up in the morning and go, man, I cannot wait to go to work today to see how our last configuration on this platform worked. Not really. I do now get up going, man, I'm looking forward to going to work today. I'm having conversations late at night because of time differences in different time zones around the world. But I'm talking about something I know and I'm comfortable with and I'm passionate about, right? Which is rugby. And I'm able to take that relationship that I've had with a lot of these players over the last few years into now more of a formal setting, which includes, from a business standpoint, what's going to affect them and their families, and then tie that up into the same conversation, which is, bro, I want you to enjoy what you're doing. I want you to come to work because you're happy to be there. Because if you're happy and excited to be at work, then the overall product on Saturday shows because you enjoy what you do. And so, if I had to describe, which I have to on occasions with a lot of people, they tell what you're doing. Really, my job is to provide a good, safe place where people enjoy coming to work. Our product just so happens to be rugby, which makes it even better, right? So up to that point, listen, my wife says, listen, you just landed your dream job. I said, true story. I said, when I was working at BYU, that was, pretty much voluntary and it took up a lot of time and I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong, but now it's come full circle. And she goes, hey, now you get to enjoy it and get paid and it's your dream job. So go for it. And so I've been going for it ever since.
It's awesome. And it's a busy offseason that included the Major League Rugby draft. So let's walk through the 4 picks. The Warriors had traded out of the first round. So we go to the second round. Pick 19. What did you guys see in Josh Halliday from Trinity Western up in Canada?
Athleticism. First of all, he's tall, right? We're looking for a good jumping lock. That 2 meters, that 6'7"-ish is something we're really after. He's very physical. Now, he's relatively new to rugby as well. He's played hockey most of his life, but very athletic. Apparently comes with just a wealth of knowledge that he's prepared to learn more, right? So that excited us. He was actually on our top of our list after we'd given up the first round draft pick. And, that in itself was a big move for a new guy sitting into this role, and I had exchanged some text and some email with Kimball. And as we started to plan for round 1, I says, going to sell it. You sure? I says, yeah, no, I'm actually pretty good about selling this off. And the reason why is it created obviously some cap space that we needed to go after players that we believe are going to be impactful from the very beginning. So kind of a bold move for, my first sort of move in this role. But it worked out well. And our humble opinion is that we gave it up. We took some cap space. And then we were able to get who we wanted on the top of our list, which was Josh Halliday.
When then you move to the very next pick, and a local kid gets to play right here from BYU, Biagi going at the 20th pick. Talk about what you saw in him.
Size. He's a big unit, and coming from BYU, then he's been getting, under the watchful eye of a Steve St. Pierre. Jared knows him really, really well.
Yep.
Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on which way you look at it. But Stevie and Derek and Seki Coffee and those guys have done a great job down there. I mean, they were 1 game away from playing in the championship this past year. Mike Biagi played a big role in that. So you can't teach size. He's obviously got to come with a skill set that was developed at BYU, and he's local. If I could, I would have taken a couple of other locals as well. But and the other. Oh, it was Gabe Mahuinga that went first round. We're loaded in the front row, man. So unfortunately, there wasn't a need for Gabe. But back rowers, you can always convert back rowers from 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. So we see that Mike Biagi should be able to come in and contribute, right off the bat. So
Biagi was one of the 3 of the 4 picks that played in the Collegiate Rugby Shield. We got to see them in person, which was cool. Abe Turpin was the next one out of Arizona who we saw in the Shield as well.
Yeah. No, excited about Abe. He's got a lot to him. There's a lot more to Abe, I think, that we could really pull out of him. He's very physical as well. We went through his highlight film and that sort of stuff. He doesn't shy away from contact. In fact, I think he enjoys that the most part about his rugby. He's an Arizona boy, so he's actually, I think he's from Idaho. We consider that to be local as well. And so, the goal is to get these guys into our Crossroads Cup as well, to sort of see them in action, see what we can work with, how we can improve. But no, we're excited. Arizona has also been a very good program for a long time, so they learn rugby well. And those basic foundational skills will simply be helpful for them as they move into the next phase of their rugby life.
Well, it gives us a lot of depth there at that loose forward position, Town. Now you're talking about Bales, you're talking about Lance, Tommy, you add Abe into that group. Now you talk about the versatility of Hunga and Yuri in there, and it lets you be so versatile with your lineup. So I thought that was a great pick when it came. And I think one that was a no-brainer, and this surprised me, how was Isaiah Cruz still available in the third round? Did nobody else watch the CRS? The kid's incredible, and obviously his brother playing for the club has to be an asset, right?
Yeah, I mean, Isaiah comes from good stock, obviously. He understands the game of rugby. He had a very successful college career. He's an athlete. We were pleasantly surprised that he was still there when we went after him. Now, the interesting thing is I had a chat with Mika just the other day, actually, and I said, there are some pros and cons of having two Cruzes in the same place. First of all, he's a lot better looking than Mika. I told him that. He knows and understands. There's no confusion there. The other part of it is Mika can either play a role in helping his younger brother be successful at this level of rugby, and by helping him, he can be hard on him, or he can actually help pathway him through. But you can't deny natural talent. Isaiah Cruz has natural talent. So for that reason, when he was still on the board, funnily enough, we looked at each other and go, this is no brainer, man. Let's grab Isaiah before somebody else does. And so when we went down for the actual college draft, I was talking to a couple of other GMs and other folks that were there, and they were going, man, we were about to grab him. Yeah, sure you were. You should have grabbed him in the second round. I don't know why you didn't take him. So gladly we took Isaiah Cruz. Excited.
Those are the four picks. And so other development is happening as well. We've seen Lance Williams with the USA Sevens. Mm-hmm. He helps them qualify for Paris in the Olympics. That was pretty cool that Lance in now back-to-back years gets that Sevens experience. Yeah. He's a back-to-back first-team All-MLR guy.
Yeah. I mean, you can't teach this. He's a day one guy. He's one of the OGs, man. I actually remember the very first assembly for the Utah Warriors, and we were training. We were laughing about it because in and amongst those buildings up there in what do they call it? Silicon Slopes there, point of the mountain. It was just it was carved out. I don't know who actually owns that piece of grass, but that's where the player started. He was one of those originals, man. Him, Sire, Angus. Those are some of the OGs that actually have places. And so, again, you can't teach experience that comes by virtue of being around for a while. And you know what you're going to get with Lance. You're going to get a lot of energy. You're going to get a lot of hair, and a lot of energy out there. So, yes, something that I won't have to worry about for a long time.
Well, and somebody that I think surprised a lot of people as well when we talk about guys just getting their caps and the experience, having Takaji Youngyen kind of have a couple of caps for the Warriors, but kind of flew under the radar for a couple of different reasons, and then blew up with the Eagles in camp, got his first cap, a big physical front rower. Got to be excited about the way Kaji's developing.
So Kaji is what you call the find of the year. He was definitely under the radar. So I coached his brother, Brandon Youngyen, at UVU. Now, both of these guys come from Auckland. They both have a good, solid rugby background. Brandon's actually bigger than Takaji. And I was going, man, these guys can flat out play rugby. Obviously, when they dug a little deeper, he had some history and some experience with the Auckland Blues as well in their wider squad. So the fact that he turned up and is now a Utah Warrior is the find of the year. Now, he actually was found during the Crossroads Cup. The Crossroads Cup itself was the platform for Takaji, and arguably it was the platform for guys like Jeremiah Noesi. Those guys came through the Crossroads Cup. So that's going to be a big part of our preseason this year. In fact, we're ramping up to that. As we speak, we're putting teams together. We want to get guys in from out of town too, to be a part of that 4 to 6 week window of rugby for us.
If you want to be a USA Eagle, show up in the Crossroads Cup. Who knows? Maybe you'll be on the European tour.
Just saying.
That was amazing. That's the ultimate pathway conversation, right? Okay, Paul Mullen continues to be one of the best tight head props in American rugby. Bailey Wilson was in camp. We were hoping he'd get capped, perhaps against Toulouse. We'll see. And then Thomas Tuaval got capped, which is pretty cool. He continues to evolve and become a huge piece among those forwards. Yeah,
agreed. I mean, those three that you just named, Paulie obviously, arguably is the best at his craft in the US right now. Front rowers are not easy to find, especially as good as Paul Mullen. I would often say, because I coach the forwards at BYU, that the ugliest and the oldest guys are in the front row, because it actually takes that long to really master that position. Now, I'm not saying that Paul is ugly. He could be. But he's very good. I hope he doesn't watch this, mate. I mean, anyway, they might come back to get me.
Look, coach, last time somebody talked some trash on Paulie, they got tackled on camera. So
I would look around if I was you.
Proceed at your own risk. Give me one of those. He's behind me, isn't he?
Bro, you've seen my Marty sidestep, bro.
Oh, Cherbo.
Yeah. No, so you know what? So Paulie's a big part of our plans moving forward. Obviously, that front row is an acquired skill. It requires a lot of time and effort to really master it. But Bales is just a solid performer. He's got an engine on him. He can go forever. I think Bales' rugby ceiling is really, really high. Given the right opportunity, the right times. A lot of the conversations I'm having with potential players, I'm talking about 2031. I'm talking about what their pathway is to hosting the World Cup here in the United States, and that they should be a part of that whole pathway. So, as much as it'll be nice to have them to come play for Utah Warriors, I'm talking way past 2024. I'm saying part of your goals should be that you represent your country in your country at the highest level of rugby. And those conversations have been well received by some of these young players and stuff. And of course, you mentioned Tommy. Tommy's just Tommy, bro. He throws his body on the line and he gives it 100 plus. So we're really fortunate to have these guys with the Utah Warriors. And I got to be honest, fellas, I'm excited for what 2024 is going to do for us. We're in the throes right now of putting together a roster that honestly is going to shake the league next year. And I'm excited about what Coach Coops and Robbie and others that are coming on board have in mind as far as the style of rugby we want to play. So, I can get behind that, man. Anything that's a style of rugby that suggests that when you come here to Utah and you hit that fourth quarter in the second round, guess what? That altitude is going to kick in, and we're going to go to a next level. So, our players' fitness, our players' commitment is going to be key to our build up to 2024, because we seriously want to take advantage of the altitude when teams come to play.
So let's talk about what else that depth looks like, because, we obviously added some depth at front row. We added some depth in the back row. We added some depth in the back three in this draft. What other holes are you really looking to fill right now? What are some priorities for that front office before we get into camp?
Yeah, good question. I wouldn't call it a hole per se. I'd say there's an opportunity in the midfield that can play off of, Paulie Lasiki, and he's doing really well, by the way. He's ahead of schedule as far as returning back into full play. So that midfield / wing option, even though we've got the Joe Manos, the Mika Cruz, as far as managing the time for a lot of these players, finding somebody else that can be an X factor in that midfield, I think will blow things open for us. We broke the line last year consistently. Finding some top end speed to actually finish it off is a big part of our recruitment drive at the moment. And we've got a couple of things up our sleeves right now, which I can't divulge at this time. And no, it's not me. I do have top speed, but no, it's not me. I know you guys.
You're looking real aerodynamic, Coach. Looking real aerodynamic.
You guys were thinking it. I know you were thinking it, but no, it's not me. But yeah, I'm actually really excited of the prospects that we have coming in and looking to really sort of, nail these folks down here in the next week or two, to be honest. And so we're excited about the brand of rugby we want to play. we're going to make it no secret that you cannot turn up to camp not in shape, man.
Okay, I love it. Speaking of, did want to ask you, for those who aren't familiar with your story, you are a cancer survivor. What have you gone through, and how are you doing now, Wayne?
Thank you. Oh, I appreciate you asking, man. It was actually about 6 weeks ago, 6 or 7 weeks ago, I got to ring the bell, which is an acknowledgement that you were able to beat this very nasty disease. When I was diagnosed, and my brother was my donor for my transplant, they told me right there and then, they say, because of the uniqueness of this particular cancer, you're probably going to be a patient for the rest of your life. That didn't sit well with me. And we had agreed as a team, meaning my wife and my 2 girls, that A, we were going to be the best patients we could possibly be. And then we were going to go hell for leather to beat this thing. And here I am, years later, to ring the bell. And it's quite an emotional experience because some of those doctors and nurses that were there from day one were still there. And I got to share that moment with them. So in answer to your question, I'm doing better. I don't encourage anybody to get cancer. If you can avoid it, avoid it. But I tell you what, man, I wouldn't change anything because I've learned so much about myself, my family. I know what dark looks like, and sitting down and having that conversation with players and colleagues and friends and say, hey, listen, I get it, man. But I really know what dark looks like, and I'm on the other end of that darkness. So whatever you're going through, you can overcome it. You just got to get a good team behind you and just fight like hell, man. And that's what I did. And so I appreciate you asking that question, Jam. I consider myself very blessed to still be here. And now I get to do my dream job, man.
Life's good, man. Life's good. And your daughter, Kasna, is the all-time leader in kills at Utah Valley in women's volleyball. I called an NCAA tournament match with her a year and a half ago, which was awesome. And I was like, Tata 50, where do I know that name? And that was amazing.
Thank you.
Good insight there. Let's finish with this. Getting Toulouse, the French champs, the 22-time champs, 5-time champs of Europe, to come here September 16th, which, by the way, that is moved up, as we mentioned, from the 17th to the 16th on a Saturday, to play the United States, and several Utah Warriors undoubtedly will be in that lineup. What does that mean for this state? Because I've compared it to, like, if you lived in Manchester, England, and you liked basketball, this would be like the Lakers.
Agreed.
Just growing up in Manchester, England. Like, this is amazing.
Well, the Lakers or the Bulls, whoever you're into. I mean, I'll go with the Bulls. I'll throw that there. But no, you're absolutely right. It's honestly, it's like the All Blacks turning up, right? And saying, here's an opportunity for the state of Utah, which, by the way, arguably is the most rugby-educated state in the United States. I'll argue that with anybody. There is some history here in this state that suggests people know what rugby is about here. So to the credit of, the Highlands, the BYUs, the Utahs, those folks that have put rugby on the map in the state of Utah, man, what an opportunity. And so it's exciting when you get French Toulouse to come over here and go up against, our national team. You wouldn't want to miss that event. And so, Kimball Kerr, our CEO, has done a great job of creating this relationship with them, and it allows for this opportunity to go. Now, it was on the 17th, but for the record, that's actually my birthday, so I asked them to change it to the 16th.
Nice.
You're welcome. So they moved to the 16th as a result. Listen, I said if you go on the 17th, you probably won't get a lot of people there because of obviously the religious affiliation here. However, if it was going to be on the 17th, I was going to bring my whole board as a ward activity. They would have been there anyway.
It's going to be awesome.
I'm glad you were able to call in that favor for us, Wayne, and get that game moved to a Saturday night. So no excuse not to bring the whole whānau, the Ainga, bring the whole family out for what's going to be a great rugby spectacle. Can't wait to see you and all of the boys there and see a bunch of our Warriors hopefully run out on the field against Toulouse.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
Okay, well, thanks, Wayne, for the time. We appreciate it. Best of luck in the offseason here.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate the time.
If you haven't yet, check out the Utah Built podcast, co-hosted by yours truly and our very own Kimball Care. This newest episode features Rob Allen, President and CEO of Intermountain Health. We got to go down to the Intermountain Health offices downtown Salt Lake City with a gorgeous view over Temple Square and the Capitol to talk about Rob, who he is, where he's from, what he's doing, celebrating the people, personalities, businesses, and brands that are uniquely Utah built. Check out our episode with Rob Allen and all of our past episodes right here on all the social media outlets. We post it there for you and wherever you get your podcast. Check out Utah Built.
All right, the Utah Warriors have hired a new assistant coach in Brendan O'Meara, who's worked with the American Raptors, formerly the Glendale Raptors, Austin Gilgronis and his alma mater, St. Mary's, as well as the United States U20s team. He'll oversee the attack. Banksy, what do you think of this hiring?
I think this is a great addition. The Austin Gilgronis had a great attacking shape while he was there with them and were really consistent in their attack. And I think that's the level of expectation that he brings to this Warriors team, and the bar that he's going to set is that consistency. We've seen this team look fantastic at times and score tries and bunches, but we've also seen them look incredibly pedestrian. So with Brendan's expertise and with his resume, I really think the standard will be raised once again.
He's got some real options to work with as well in that backfield with the Utah Warriors. So that's exciting. He joins the staff with second-year head coach Greg Cooper and assistant coach Robbie Abel as well. And so we look forward to that group putting out a good product in 2024. Okay, USA Eagles in Europe. The 3-game European tour is over. The Eagles went 1-2. They started off with a good win against Romania, 31-17. Then they lost to Portugal, 46-20, who knocked the United States out of World Cup contention. And then Georgia beat the United States 22-7. We saw Paul Mullen, Thomas Tuival, Mika Kruse, Takaji Yen, Young Yen all get in some of these matches. Bailey Wilson did not get capped. We're looking forward to perhaps the Toulouse game being that opportunity for him. What did you think of not only the United States performance, but the Warriors represented in those?
I thought the Warriors obviously represented Dub Nation incredibly well. The boys all played significant minutes and played brilliantly while they were on the field. Lots of them starting games and then the substitution minutes coming in for the other boys as well. It's just a matter of when, not if, for Bales. Cap's going to get it. And we know that for Bailey, that's definitely in his future. So it's good to see him traveling with the team. I think overall for Scott Lawrence, this was about vetting young players and getting these guys minutes. You cannot teach certain things in rugby with any kind of other substitute except for minutes on the field. And so there was a lot of new players capped, including obviously many of our Warriors. But for Scott, I know as a head coach, this was about setting the foundation and the expectation for who this team's going to be going forward. And I think he did an incredible job. The team looked very dangerous at times, and they really set a platform to build on going forward with now the majority of these players being based in Major League Rugby.
It was like a month-long tour plus for many of these guys. So hopefully they enjoyed that. They got to go to some cool places and get a good experience, and that will add to their abilities coming up next season with the Utah Warriors, which is super exciting. And hopefully we'll see a bunch of those guys in the Toulouse game on September 16th. We very well could.
Very excited about that Toulouse game. If you want to get your tickets, go to SeatGeek.com. September 16th, America First Field. It's going to go down. Should be an incredible rugby spectacle that you and I both get to be part of in some very small way. So I'm very excited for that. If you haven't checked out the Utah Built podcast yet, see the upcoming episode with a man who I was so happy to get to meet and hear his story and what he's doing. Nate Randall, who's the CEO of Gab Telephones and Watches. So Gab creates the kid-safe watches and cell phones that parents are allowed to access, track, and monitor. It's really an incredible mission that he has and a vision that he has for Gab. And he's got some great stories about Tiger Woods being at Nike and so many other great moments from that interview. If you want to check out the Utah Built podcast, hosted by me and co-hosted by our very own Kimball Care, go to Utah Built wherever you get your podcasts or follow us here on social media.
My daughter has Gab Watch, so I'm a fan. I'll be checking that one out for sure. Okay, Lance Williams with the USA Sevens. The United States Sevens won the Rugby Americas North, or RAN, Sevens tournament to qualify for the Olympics in Paris next year. Lance Williams part of that squad. Pretty fun to see. Perhaps we'll see Lance in the Olympics next year with USA Sevens. He's done some great work the last 2 summers.
He's been an absolutely pivotal player. And just like he is for the Warriors, he is a leader on that team without the captain's armband. We saw the other Williams do incredible things with the armband here. But I think our Lance Williams is such a spark of energy. He's such a physical presence. He's such a fun guy to be around that he really forms what could be the nucleus of a very successful and positive team. I'm excited for what the Olympics have for Lance Williams.
It's going to be fun. And also fun, as we mentioned, the United States, the USA Eagles taking on Toulouse. You can not only watch this amazing game and opportunity, you can be a part of a Guinness World Record, world's largest scrum. We've got to get down in that, right? We got to be a part of it.
We're going to be in it. Absolutely. 100% for sure. As a prop forward, I would be remiss in my duties as a human being to props everywhere if I wasn't part of the world's largest scrum. All right. The goal is to get, I believe, over 5,000 people on the field at America First Field after the game, after USA versus Toulouse, to have the largest scrum ever take place here in North America. If you want to be part of that, check out the Utah Warriors social media. You can see all you need to know about that. And make sure you have your tickets to see USA versus Toulouse. SeatGeek.com will get you all the information you need on tickets available now.
Okay, last but not least, Cliven Lobser is the Utah Warrior who will be on the World Cup roster in his home country of Namibia. Lobser and his squad will play against Italy, New Zealand, host France, and Uruguay. That's a tough group. September 9th it starts, the 15th, 21st, 27th. It's going to be fun to watch Cliven Lobser, who has had a bit of an injury but still made the roster, repping in the World Cup. That'll be pretty cool.
I think a healthy Cliven Lobser is dangerous no matter what team he's on. He is so fast and elusive, deceptively quick with his feet, and he's really an exciting player and one of the nicest guys that you've ever met. So to get to see him play in the World Cup will be exciting. That pool is a bit of the pool of death, maybe. I mean, there's no easy pools in the Rugby World Cup, but it would be great to see them get a win versus Uruguay. That's a big uphill task. France and New Zealand may be way too much for Namibia to handle, but to be able to see one of our guys play on the biggest stage in the world is going to be exciting. So with the USA out of it, Dub Nation, you want somebody to cheer for? How about our very own Cliven Lobser and the underdogs, Namibia, in the Rugby World Cup?
That's for sure. And then there'll be that French connection with the alliance with Stade Toulousain, which we'll see some of their starters didn't make the French World Cup team and will be at this game, which will be exciting. And so September is going to be a very, very rugby-filled month with the World Cup and Toulouse coming to town. It's going to be awesome.
I did the count, Jerem, and I think 11 Toulouse players are on that French squad for the World Cup.
It's a heavy dose.
It's a significant. I mean, why wouldn't you just make it a dozen there and just go for it?
And only one that showed up in the as this fly wants to participate in Dub Nation 100th episode. Who doesn't? Only one player didn't make it that showed up in the initial camp, and that's because of an injury. The starting fly half there. So yeah, it's going to be a great opportunity to watch a lot of meaningful rugby in September, including in our backyard in Sandy. Like, I'm so hyped for this game. It's going to be so fun. And then in 2 weeks, when we have another Dub Nation, we'll be talking with draft picks and getting ready for the Toulouse game. And then, as Wayne hinted at, we got guys coming into town being recruited to join the squad. Some top end speed at winger, perhaps. Not to mention the rookies, and then soon we'll be getting into the Crossroads Cup in the fall, and schedules and jerseys and signings, and so there's a lot going on, man. I know we take a breath for a minute, but even in August, it feels like we gotta. I say it every show. I feel like we have a lot going on, which is super exciting. Check out the Utah Built podcast. Get to that Toulouse game. Check out Dub Nation, and keep tabs on all this stuff because we got you. We got you. Thanks to everyone who's involved in Dub Nation on this 100th episode, who has helped produce it or been a guest on it or participated in any way, whether it be you watching or listening to this. We appreciate it. We love rugby. We love the Warriors, and we love that we can do this together. And so, Banksy, it's been fun to do 100 to here's to 100 more, man.
Let's go. I mean, 100 still feels so fresh and new. I can't believe we're at 100 episodes. So 100 more, and in the words of the great poet and philosopher Buzz Lightyear, to infinity and beyond.
Well done. Well done. Okay, that'll do it for us. Like and share this 100th episode of Dub Nation on the Utah Warriors social media. For Wayne Tata 50, Mason Benson, and Banksy, and for all of you, I am Jerem Jordan. Go Warriors.